Tonight, we take you inside the case that stunned North Texas. It was supposed to be an ordinary spring morning at a high school track meet in Frisco. But in a matter of seconds, a confrontation between two teenagers turned deadly. 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was stabbed at Kirkendall Stadium. Police say the suspect, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, admitted to it. He was charged with murder. Anthony's attorneys argue he acted in self-defense. This case has become far more than a courtroom battle. It has divided public opinion, fueled online outrage, triggered protests, and transformed two North Texas families forever. What exactly happened under that tent at that track meet? What do witnesses say they saw? What evidence will jurors hear? And how will a Collin County jury weigh claims of self-defense against a charge of murder? Tonight, we examine the timeline, the evidence, the legal strategy, and the emotional fallout from a tragedy that continues to reverberate across Frisco and beyond. Our Jobin Puniker has a look at how we got here.
It was a deadly confrontation under a track team tent that lasted only moments and would set off a chain of events that would dominate headlines for more than a year.
I got the alleged suspect in handcuffs right now, the chains.
April 2nd, 2025, at Kirkendall Stadium in Frisco, Austin Metcalf, a junior at Memorial High School, was stabbed and within hours pronounced dead.
Karmelo Anthony, class of 2025.
Another student from Centennial, Karmelo Anthony, was arrested the same day for murder.
I got a phone call from Hunter.
A day later, the Metcalf family, including Austin's twin brother, spoke with us.
Just because the kid was mad, my son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it. His brother's lost his best friend.
It's just really heartbreaking to see someone that cares for you that much and does everything, even by your side, no matter what, just pass away like that.
April 14th, Karmelo Anthony's bond is reduced from $1 million to $250,000. He was escorted from jail and released under house arrest with an ankle monitor.
Explain your self-defense.
A case already combustible just went nuclear.
There's two sides to every story, and we've only heard one side.
We have endured death threats.
April 17th, the Anthony family speaks for the first time at a press conference. Austin's father, Jeff Metcalf, also shows up.
Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
And is escorted out by Dallas police.
We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you.
April 23rd, police confirm reports of threats, fake deliveries, fake calls for service at both Metcalf and Anthony homes. 2 days later, the FBI is looking into doxing claims. The judge who lowered the bond, her private information was illegally released online. June 9th, the school district won't release surveillance video from the incident, but allowed us to watch it at their district building. For the first time, a glimpse into the incident and the response. June 24th, a grand jury indicts Karmelo Anthony on a murder charge. District Attorney Greg Willis says the death penalty was never on the table.
That would not be something that we could do even if we wanted to.
July 9th, Judge John Roach of the 296th District Court sets trial for 2026. July 24th, the court orders a subpoena of the school district and critical investigative information. The district sends letters home to families and students who may be witnesses to the event.
If you were to ask any superintendent in the state, that's probably their worst nightmare.
Days later, July 29th, the judge imposes a gag order for both sides. No one connected to the trial can speak on it publicly. September 5th of last year, Memorial takes the football field in honor of Austin Metcalf. His number 11 spells out all in. His father, under a gag order, signs, "I love you," to his son. Early 2026 saw routine trial events, pre-trial motions, most out of public view. In April of this year, Judge Roach issues strict courtroom rules for trial: no cameras, limited seating, and heightened security. Which brings us to June 1st, the beginning of jury selection, the beginning of the real criminal trial that is much talked about and for many already decided in the court of public opinion. The scrutiny is as high as the stakes. Karmelo Anthony faces life in prison. For two families, the timeline doesn't end here. In Collin County, I'm Jobin Puniker.
This is a tragedy that rocked North Texas and shattered two families that built their lives here. One student now facing life in prison, the other's life cut short. We spoke with Austin Metcalf's mother, father, and twin brother hours after he was killed to learn more about who he was.
They were inseparable brothers, even at birth. Identical twins born 4 minutes apart. Austin Metcalf was just a little older.
They had each other's back. They were tight. Those boys were my everything.
And everything changed on April 2nd, 2025, the day Austin Metcalf was stabbed and killed at a track meet in Frisco. An honor student in the classroom. On the field is where Austin really shined. Played every sport you could imagine.
His goal was to play in college. He just wanted to play football.
He would step on that field and he would become a totally different person.
Austin was a standout linebacker at Memorial, second team All-District honors. Last September, they ran out of the tunnel carrying his number 11.
Yeah, it's an emotional game, but man, our kids are resilient.
No one may feel Austin's absence like his twin brother, Hunter.
We did everything together. Clean the dishes together, do yard work together, sports, anything in the world, it's always us two.
They went to church youth group together, even worked at the same place. They were servers here at Halo Pizzeria in Frisco. In late May, Austin would have walked this stage to pick up his diploma. Instead,
Hunter Metcalf.
Hunter walked it in his honor. The standing ovation that followed lasted 30 seconds. In June, Hunter may have to take the stand in his brother's death.
I'm so worried about my son because he's going to have to face this world alone now.
The brothers who shared everything, classrooms, football fields, even work shifts, are now separated by a tragedy. In Frisco, I'm Jobin Puniker.
For many, the only image of Karmelo Anthony is the one taken after he was charged with murder. But tonight, a look at the life he lived before the case that shook North Texas.
Many of you have seen this photo of Karmelo Anthony at 17 years old, charged and booked for murder. But there are also these photos, the eldest of 4 Anthony children.
We wanted to give our children the future we did not have.
Through his family, we know they left Baton Rouge, Louisiana a few years ago, settled here in Frisco, where he attended Centennial High School.
Karmelo Anthony, class of 2025, Centennial High School, Frisco, Texas.
He ran track, played football, and was captain of the team.
What's the number 1 seed?
His highlights showcasing that talent are still up online. We've learned Karmelo Anthony worked 2 jobs, was an AB student before the April 2025 stabbing incident at a track meet. It would take him out of school and turn 2 families' lives upside down.
He's been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do.
Sources close to the family say Karmelo was able to graduate and receive his diploma, but he did not walk the stage or participate in any senior activities.
Explain your self-defense.
There hasn't been another public photo or video of Karmelo since he disappeared into this SUV and into house arrest. His bond conditions prevent it. Karmelo is now 18 years old, and the next time we see him is when he gets his day in court. In McKinney, I'm Jobin Puniker.
Legal experts say the final outcome in this case could ultimately come down not to guilt or innocence, but also to how a jury interprets the moments leading up to Austin Metcalf's death. Kevin Reese breaks down the possible paths this case could take and the wide range of punishment allowed under Texas law.
And I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did.
In charging the then 17-year-old with murder, the Collin County District Attorney alleges he did intentionally and knowingly cause the death of an individual, namely Austin Metcalf, by stabbing him with a knife, a deadly weapon. If convicted, the sentence range, according to Texas law, is anywhere from 5 to 99 years in prison. And according to Texas law, someone under the age of 18 cannot receive the death penalty or be sentenced to life without parole.
Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
Well, I think that there's a lot of things in this that we don't know yet.
Keith Harris is an attorney not connected to this case, and he explains that a murder charge could be reduced to a second-degree felony if the defense successfully proves the defendant acted under the immediate influence of sudden passion, That could mean a sentence range, if convicted, of 2 to 20 years.
Is used, usually not in the guilt innocence, it's more in the punishment phase of everything.
But there is first the argument over whether Anthony will be convicted or acquitted.
The truth will come out.
One family convinced.
There were too many people that were there that saw what happened.
The other.
We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out.
Anthony's family and legal team alleging it was self-defense.
He's in an almost impossible situation. I mean, it's going to be very difficult. Even if he hired the best lawyers in the country, I mean, they would have their work cut out for them.
We are confident that when all the facts are presented and the full story is heard, the jury will reach the right conclusion and justice will be done.
Justice that could range anywhere from acquittal to 99 years. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
As you just heard, Karmelo Anthony's legal team is arguing this was self-defense. We have spoken with many attorneys who say this is going to be hard to prove, especially if Austin Metcalf did not have a weapon. Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez takes a closer look at how a self-defense argument could play out in court.
The defense strategy is already clear.
Self-defense is a protection that applies to each and every one of us.
Explain your self-defense.
Karmelo Anthony's defense attorney, Mike Howard, asked the public to not rush to conclusions before hearing all the evidence surrounding the deadly confrontation between Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf.
This is a tragedy all the way around for both families. Rushing to judgment, trial by public perception and trial by media is not how we ensure justice is done.
Legal expert Keith Harris says the defense has to show why the jury should consider self-defense. According to the arrest affidavit, Metcalf was unarmed, while Anthony brought a knife to a track meet.
I think that that's ultimately going to be something that a jury also considers as to whether or not he even should have had it to begin with.
Police say the confrontation began when it was raining and Anthony sat under the tent where Metcalf and his team were sitting. Police say Metcalf asked Anthony to move from under the tent. Officer Taylor Wetzel wrote in an affidavit that a witness told him Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and warned Metcalf, "Touch me again and see what happens." Witnesses told police Metcalf then touched or grabbed Anthony while trying to move him, and Anthony allegedly pulled out a knife, stabbed Metcalf once in the chest. Metcalf's twin brother, Hunter, was standing next to him.
We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack.
Harris says those facts could become critical for jurors.
The prosecution could say that he was kind of asking for it. I think the flip side for the defense, when you think about it, these are 17-year-old boys. And I was 17 at one point in time. And so you think about 17-year-old boys don't make the best decisions.
In an arrest affidavit, Officer Eduardo Cortez said, "As we were walking him, Anthony, to the squad car, the suspect was emotional and said, 'He put his hands on me. I told him not to.'" Another officer later wrote, "Anthony made another spontaneous statement and asked if what happened could be considered self-defense." Harris says those statements are important because they may help Anthony's attorneys get self-defense in front of a jury.
If the officers testify to what he told them as soon as they got there, that's going to be the scintilla of evidence that defense would need to get self-defense in the charge.
As a defense attorney, they're going to try every avenue. That's their job. The truth will come out.
Under Texas law, once self-defense is raised, prosecutors must disprove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Harris says the defense may argue Anthony reacted emotionally and impulsively in the heat of the moment.
We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state. But those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us.
Ultimately, jurors will have to decide whether Karmelo Anthony was defending himself from danger or whether a verbal confrontation with an unarmed teenager should never have ended in deadly force. In Collin County, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
In July, months after the stabbing, Judge John Roach put in place a gag order trying to maintain fairness ahead of this trial. The gag order blocks attorneys, law enforcement officers, witnesses, and even students who may have seen what happened from speaking publicly or posting online without court approval. Once the trial begins, we are expecting witness testimony from students, coaches, and first responders. That gag order has prevented us from speaking with people who were close to the incident. Jobin Puniker had the opportunity to watch surveillance footage from the track meet. And here's what he saw.
Our public information request with Frisco ISD was met on Monday. We could only watch the before and after of an April 2nd alleged stabbing at a school track meet that led to the death of one student and the arrest of another. The district didn't give it to us, but allowed us to watch it. The video is available for limited viewing only, citing student privacy and school security. There is no audio. Try to picture this. We're on the 4th floor. We walk into a room and there's a TV with a shot showing half of Kirkendall Stadium. It's a wide shot from the opposite side. And everything that happens in one very small fraction of the screen in the upper left-hand corner. We couldn't zoom in. It's blurry, pixelated. You cannot identify or see victim Austin Metcalf or suspect Karmelo Anthony.
It is hard to tell how many people are under that memorial tent. It's also hard to tell what they're doing. But we do know that about 9:55, there's a lot of commotion, a lot of activity that happens at the top side of that memorial tent all the way down to the bottom. At this point, it is hard to tell, and it does not show on camera the alleged stabbing. We do know that there are a lot of people that run away from that scene soon after.
We notice a number of what appear to be students running across the bleachers from many directions away from the tent. More people on the field start to notice and also run toward the back gate and exit.
Okay, at about 9 minutes after the alleged stabbing, we see EMS drive right through to the backside of this stadium, and they park midfield.
Next, we notice paramedics wheeling out a gurney, but have to walk all the way back to the gate and to the bleachers. There's a lot of activity at the bottom of those bleachers and what appears to be the triage of Austin Metcalf. 15 minutes after the incident, we see people put the tarp over the bleachers, which our helicopter cameras captured.
All right, so looking at the timing, there's 26 minutes between the time of the alleged stabbing and the time EMS leaves Kirkendall Stadium with Austin Metcalf. At the same time, what appear to be officers, they are at the crime scene right next to that tent.
All of this video will one day be shown in court. A grand jury may see it too in the coming weeks. The attorney for Karmelo Anthony confirms he's seen it, but neither family has disclosed whether they've seen it. In Collin County, I'm Jobin Puniker.
This incident started as a case between two teenagers, but has since turned into a nationally debated and deeply divisive story. With cameras not allowed in the courtroom, our team is preparing for detailed coverage of this trial. Here's Tiffany Liu.
On April 2nd, 2025, 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was stabbed during a track meet at Frisco ISD's Kirkendall Stadium.
I drove up to the hospital and straight away. I actually beat the ambulance there.
Police say another 17-year-old student, Karmelo Anthony, stabbed Metcalf under a team tent during a weather delay.
He was on a lot of machines, and it didn't take long for them to come in to say that he had passed.
Anthony was arrested at the scene.
I got the alleged suspect in handcuffs right now, detained.
He was later indicted on a murder charge and has pleaded not guilty, claiming self-defense.
We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out.
Two families are forever changed in very different ways. And in the days after the stabbing, both mothers spoke publicly.
My son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
One mourning her child's death.
He's just such a good spirit, and so many kids loved him, and his brother's lost his best friend.
The other defending her son accused of causing it.
I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to.
Outside their grief, what happened at a high school track meet in Frisco became something far bigger than this community. The case spread across social media, drawing national, even international attention. Online debates over self-defense, justice, and race intensified. The families and the judges connected had their personal information leaked and received death threats. So as the trial approaches in Collin County, security will be higher than normal. Cameras generally aren't allowed in this courthouse, and that rule applies for this case too. It's why our team of journalists at WFAA will monitor the trial closely. Collin County reporter Jobin Puniker will be our eyes and ears inside, documenting the testimony and evidence as it happens alongside a sketch artist. Outside the courtroom, senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez will follow the developments as the case unfolds. On WFAA.com, we'll keep a live blog updated. Then each day after adjournment, anchor Jason Wheeler and senior investigative reporter Tanya Iser, along with a team of legal experts, will stream a full after the trial recap. All of it available on WFAA+. Karmelo Anthony's trial for the death of Austin Metcalf will be a challenge as public opinion has been shaped far beyond courtroom walls. It'll face intense scrutiny in what could be one of the most closely watched trials this year in North Texas.
The questions surrounding this case are far from over. Throughout the trial, WFAA is your place for complete coverage on air, online, across social media, and streaming on WFAA+. You can depend on us to keep you apprised of developments inside and outside the courtroom. Thanks for watching.